I never expected a quiet Friday night to become a memory that would haunt me in the best way possible. It started innocently enough. I had just wrapped up a long week at work, my body tired, my mind drained, and David texted me, "Come over, wine's waiting." That alone was enough to make me groan in relief. David always had that uncanny ability to make me feel at home, even when the world felt suffocating. When I walked into his apartment, the smell of something warm and familiar, vanilla candles mixed with his subtle cologne, hit me immediately. David was there, leaning against the couch, casual yet impossibly magnetic. Dark gray t-shirt, jeans that fit him just right, hair slightly tousled, blue eyes that caught mine the moment I stepped inside. My stomach nodded in a way that was becoming far too familiar. Finally, he said, his voice low and teasing, "I thought you'd be stuck at work forever." I laughed, tried to play it cool. "You know me. Deadlines don't care about anyone." He smirked, that smirk that made my knees a little weaker than they had any right to be. "Well, lucky for you, I'm a great distraction." I settled on the couch beside him, careful to maintain some semblance of distance, though my body protested the space between us. The first few minutes passed in comfortable silence, punctuated by small sips of wine and soft laughter at some show he had left playing in the background. But beneath that casual atmosphere, something simmered. I could feel it, the tension, subtle but undeniable, like the air had grown heavier the moment I sat down. Then it happened. He shifted closer. Just a few inches, but enough to make my pulse spike. His arm brushed mine, and my mind immediately scrambled to rationalize it. It's just accidental. But the way his gaze held mine told me otherwise. His eyes were sharp, but soft at the same time, filled with unspoken words I couldn't yet place. "Relax," he whispered, his voice barely audible, a warm brush against my eardrum. His hand found mine on the couch, casual, confident, electric. I froze. And then, before I could even think about saying anything, he leaned in, his lips pressed softly against mine, not demanding, not hurried, but slow and deliberate. The kiss lingered, teasing at the edges, testing the waters. My entire body responded before my brain had a chance to intervene. I melted into him, hands instinctively finding his chest, feeling the steady thrum of his heartbeat. Time stopped. Every stress, every thought of work, every doubt I'd ever had about how he might see me, they all dissolved. All that remained was the warmth of his body, the softness of his lips, and the undeniable pull I'd been denying for months. Pulling back just slightly, he rested his forehead against mine, breathing mingling with mine. Finally, he murmured, voice low, almost reverent, "I've wanted this for so long." I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I only let myself be there, in the cocoon of his arms, heart hammering in a way that felt like it might burst. Minutes passed, or maybe it was hours. I had no sense of time. We stayed like that, letting the kiss deepen, letting the tension ebb and flow between us. His hands found my waist, mine tangled in his hair, and the world outside that apartment ceased to exist. Eventually, we broke apart, just enough to look at each other. My lips tingled, and I realized I was smiling like an idiot. "You're ridiculous," I whispered. "And you love it," he countered, smirking. The rest of the night unfolded in a blur of warmth and intimacy. We talked, laughed, and occasionally let our hands brush in ways that made my heart nearly stop. Every glance, every touch, carried an undercurrent of something stronger than friendship, something neither of us wanted to name just yet. At some point, the wine disappeared, replaced by the quiet comfort of sitting close, shoulders brushing, legs tangled slightly on the couch. David traced patterns on my arm absent-mindedly, and I leaned into him without thinking. He caught me, pulling me against his side, his arms sliding around my shoulders naturally, as if this had been the most normal thing in the world. I closed my eyes, letting the sensation of being held fully wash over me. There was profound safety in it, a trust one had never felt so intensely before. And then, as if reading my thoughts, David whispered, "I don't want this night to end." Neither did I. The night stretched on, filled with stolen kisses, soft whispers, and the kind of closeness that doesn't need words. Every time I tried to think rationally, rational thought flew out the window. The only thing that mattered was him, David, the man who had always been there, the man who now held me so completely that I couldn't imagine ever letting go. Eventually, sleep caught up with us, and we ended up sprawled across the couch, tangled together like two pieces of a puzzle that had finally found its match. I drifted off in his arms, feeling safe, warm, and more alive than I had ever felt before. That night, the couch became more than furniture. It became our haven, our witness to the start of something beautiful and undeniable. And as I drifted into dreams, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I had melted in his arms, and there was no turning back.